Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for the favorite beginning and end of the divisional round. The beginning of the week to end of the divisional round for us and the NFL. My name is Dylan Barreto on Podcast Poppy. I'm with Big Brother Steven Barreto. Hello.
What's going on, people?
Honorary Barreto boy Mike may be here, may not be here. We'll see when he decides to pop up once we get like 3 minutes into this thing and then yell at us for starting. Oh, well, we have to get it cracking because we just got to witness probably the best, the best or the second best playoff game so far this year.
Was the best
With the Kansas City Chiefs beating the Buffalo Bills 27-24.
Such a heartbreak for the freaking Buffalo Bills.
We love it.
Before this, they were undefeated ever since they joined Al Qaeda until what just happened. And did you know where they were building their new stadium, there's a hole, and they were sacrificing people.
Sacrificing to the pit.
So they
to the pit.
committed to Al Qaeda too. Apparently, Taylor Swift was too strong for the.
Taylor Swift might have been too strong.
Got Jason Kelce jumping out of the suite, chugging beers with the fans, shirtless.
He was awesome. Josh Allen was great. Patrick Mahomes was great. There's just some things that just don't happen. It's just Josh Allen's Bills beating Pat Mahomes' Chiefs in the playoffs. It just doesn't happen. Don't matter where. Don't matter when. It's just not supposed to happen. And we got to see that today when the game was going to be decided on a field goal. So I'm waiting to see what rule gets changed this time to see how the Bills are going to try to find their way to win a fucking game. Because last time they changed the overtime rules just for them not to use the overtime rules since changing the overtime rules.
Well, he's never won in overtime regardless.
Now, you think they're going to ban kickers in the last 2 minutes of a game? Because you can't kick, can't win.
No, but that kicker's not going to be on the fucking team next year.
Wide right.
He was shaky. He was shaky the last game too. He was shaky on the first extra point of the first field goal of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy, it can't be a freaking. They can't let it get to a field goal. They have to score a touchdown.
Wide right.
Diggs dropped the bomb earlier on that drive, but then Josh should have threw the Diggs right before the last play before they kicked the field goal.
And the Chiefs were trying to give the game away.
Yeah.
Trying to give the game away. And they were saying, here, Buffalo, take the W. We're trying to give this game away because we're not stopping you on third down. We're letting you kind of do whatever the fuck you want. You have it. And Buffalo's like, nah, you take it. You take it back. Especially after Buffalo tried giving the game away. Because for the majority of the third quarter, it seemed like neither team wanted to win. And here we are after when they did that fake punt on their 30. I was furious.
Like, why not punt the ball?
Furious. Because I was like, what type of dumb shit is happening? Is where you're just like, you know what? 4th and 3 on our side of the field. Fuck it. We're going for it. And then they got bailed out.
Like, their offensive line was bullying them, and they made the adjustment in the second half. But
neither defense wanted to really play.
No, they got bailed out. Okay, here now Isaiah Pacheco got hurt on that one play. Why not put fucking Clyde Edwards-Helaire? If you're gonna do a running play, how about run it with a running back, Matt Nagy? Let's not put in Mecole Hardman to do a running play who fumbled twice in the red zone. That one they didn't get back.
I don't know why Mecole Hardman gets snaps because he's just bad. He's just bad at football. So I don't get it. And that play, I saw that happen. I'm like, oh, that's not good. That's going back.
That's what happened. I'm like, oh my God, that's a touchback.
Immediately, I was like, that's a fucking touchback. They really just got away with that. At that point, I was like, man, did they fucking dodge a bullet? And Janice is like, what's happening? I was like, well, they gave up no points. They got lucky going for it, and they gave up no points. So now they have a shot to win this game, as opposed to going down. And here we are.
Apparently,
Here we are.
there was they had 10 people on the fucking Kansas City had 10 people on the field. So when they're like, okay, let's run the fake punt. I'm like,
And it still didn't fucking work.
Work.
It still didn't fucking work.
Far away. I'm like, I know they're not gonna try. I'm like, is that like a freaking DeMar? Let's give DeMar Hamlin a play. If he gets,
I saw DeMar. I looked back as I blinked and it happened. I'm like, what the fuck's happening? And then I got him. I saw 3. He's like, is that DeMar Hamlin? They let DeMar Hamlin make that play? They got a secure comeback player of the year. So they got to make people remember that he's on the fucking team. Well, it was a great game, man. It was absolutely a great game.
You just hate to see it end with the kicker.
Not me.
Heartbreak. Another heartbreak for Buffalo.
Fans were crying. Janice's like, oh my God, are they crying? I was like, yes. Yes, they are.
It's a tortured.
Let them cry.
It's a tortured fan base to only get more tortured by missing that fucking field goal.
Tortured by kickers. Tortured by kickers throughout the inception of this fucking franchise.
Tortured by kickers, tortured by something. Something always. And you hear that? Do you hear that sound? You hear that sound?
What is that?
You didn't hear that closing?
Oh, the window.
It's closed.
I love it.
They're gonna have to move on from McDermott. You gotta get some new. You gotta get some new blood in here. You need a new regime because the window just closed. And if you want to reopen it, you got to bring new faces in.
Because, man,
you're going to need a new coat of paint.
How long? McDermott's been the coach for what? 7, 8 years?
He was definitely the coach when Tyrod was there. So, how long
has... man, what's up, Theo?
How long has Josh Allen been in the league now?
Josh Allen's been in the league since what, 2018? So yeah, 7 years.
Yeah, because he broke the streak. They broke their playoff drought with Tyrod Taylor.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like I don't always agree with firing a coach when he's had nothing but success, but eventually, when do you cut it off? When do you cut off that relationship? Where it's like
a change of scenery, a new coat of paint, because you got it. It's time to do something. Yes. The injuries were hard on you this season, but you still made it to this point. You still was able to be able to win this game. It's time to move on.
I just got a comment on IG said this team is about to get dismantled after another loss. Yeah.
Because there was opportunities to win this game. There was opportunities to win this game. It's like I'm not a fan of the Bills. I picked the Bills to win, but I'm like, when they missed that field goal, I'm like, oh no, this fan base is going through it again. I just went, oh no.
Couldn't happen to a better franchise, as far as I'm concerned. The whole time I'm sitting, I'm like, fuck the Bills. I don't want the Bills to fucking win shit. Fuck out of here. As simple as that. Fuck out of here. Yeah, instead of kicking the field goal, they should have went for it. They should have just played to try to score a touchdown to begin with. It's not playing for the field goal like that's easy money. In the elements, in the cold.
You play for a field goal, you're going to lose, especially when you're the one that's trailing. It's one thing if it's tied and you could win the game. You're not winning the game if you make the field goal. You're tying the game. We got
one here. Diggs gone. I don't think so, because you never really know. I know he does have a tendency to yell at Josh Allen a lot. So I'd like to say he stays.
always pointing at him. But he's lucky Josh Allen on that catch he dropped in and fucking throw him under the bus when he did it, put it right in his hand.
Because the crazy thing with Josh Allen is how fucking good his arm is and how accurate he is deep. It's insane that he just chucks the ball 60 yards like it's nothing, and the ball gets right where it's supposed to be.
If he catches it, that was a touchdown.
That was absolutely a touchdown because the defender fucked up.
Yeah, he fell down.
He fucked up. It went right through Diggs' hands. And I'm like, I saw that. I was like, yeah, that was game. That was the fucking ball game. Because even if they make this field goal, you still just gave Pat Mahomes the football with a minute 45 left. And I don't care how bad his receivers have been all year. I don't care about how the Bills defense can make plays, yada, yada, yada. All that, you can throw that shit out the window. I don't care. That's still Patrick Mahomes. And the guys from this game look like they came to catch. Because it all started off with Marquez Valdez-Scantling the start of the game. Was him making a great catch off the sidelines. So I would have believed in Mahomes in this game, regardless.
Yeah, you had to get the clock going. I'm like, they get the first down. You need the clock to move anyway. You needed Kansas City to get rid of them timeouts, and then you just have to settle for the fucking field goal. Like, especially that fourth down play. I'm like, well, I don't know what they were running there. Like, nobody's open. Like, come on. Although he should have hit Diggs on the fucking third down, on the second down.
Love to see it. All for it to just be in a heartbreaking fashion where Bills fans are just fucking crying all over the place. Brings my heart joy being a hater.
The best time they finally had a run. They finally had a year where Josh Allen didn't lead their team in rushing yards.
Shout out to Joe Brady. Shout out to Joe Brady, man. Switch the play calling to use your other weapons makes a fucking difference. And you didn't get dumb Josh Allen. That's like when you could get Josh Allen. Like if you got elite Josh Allen in a game, you have a fucking chance to win every single game. And you left dumb Josh Allen elsewhere, locked him in a closet so he didn't come out, and you couldn't win.
Yeah, it's the best case scenario because then I don't know who their free agents are. You got to say, you know what, McDermott, we just need to part ways. We need to find a new coach. We need to get some, because that window is just shut. And they got a new stadium coming. You're going to need some new blood in that stadium.
Yeah, we'll see how this goes. The Buffalo Bills are definitely going to be a team to keep an eye on in the offseason to see what type of moves they do. And if it's not McDermott's last season, I guess he would get one more before they decide to move on. But again, that's the hard part. It's like, oh, you're just going to fire a guy for making the playoffs year after year and just not winning it? And it's like, hey, if guys like Andy Reid get fired.
It happened to Andy Reid one year. They just, just need to change it up.
If great coaches get fired all the time, then it's like
Mike
McCarthy made the playoffs and won the division for what seems like a decade. Still got fired. Sounds like that Texas, like Dallas. Dallas should have fired their head coach, though. Let's go on to the other game. Bucks Lions. Shout out to the Lions getting to their first NFC Championship game since before I was born in the year 1991. Never made a World Series. Wow, never made a Super Bowl. But they got themselves a heavy task now, having to go to San Francisco to go play the Niners, which we'll recap that game shortly. But this game was a weird one because I didn't think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense in the middle of the field, of all places, would have gotten beat up that bad.
Oh, yeah, well.
Also, shout out to Jahmyr Gibbs.
They couldn't cover Jahmyr Gibbs out of the backfield. They had to worry about Laporta. Well, What truly happened is when Jamel Dean got hurt, and they just started abusing that corner that came in for him.
Yep.
They were abusing him. So it's like, all right, we'll put St. Brown on it. We'll put St. Brown to match up with him every time. I'm like, how do y'all fucking not get Carlton? How is Carlton Davis not matched up on him?
Okay. Levante's getting old, but they still got Devin, and Devin's really good too.
Devin White's free agent.
Free agent Devin White, who tried to leave Tampa last year. You got two guys on this team who are key cogs who still don't have deals and want to be out. Mike Evans, because they're going to franchise tag Mike Evans. Mike Evans probably not going to.
They got a lot of free agents. They can't franchise everyone. I
think Mike Evans is going to be the one they franchise.
If they don't get a deal done with Baker, they're gonna franchise Baker.
Baker probably is going to sign the first contract sent to him. Because remember, Baker's on like a $5 million deal right now.
No, it was only a 1 year deal.
A 1 year, $5 million. He's going to sign the first because they're going to give him like a 3 to 4 year contract, probably worth anywhere from 27 to 35 mil, and he's just going to be like, yes. Let me lock that in.
Devin White's a free agent. You're going to have some guys.
And if you sign Baker, you have to try to keep Mike Evans. You can't let Mike Evans walk. If you let Mike Evans walk after you paid Baker Mayfield, you're going to look stupid as hell.
And Mike Evans been trying to get the contract done since the freaking season, before the season started.
And they said no.
So he's like, I'm not going to focus on it no more.
So I'm very interested to see, because if you do a tag and trade, I know a certain team in New York that's been calling you all year. Make it happen, Joe Douglas. Franchise Bryce Huff. Bryce Huff for Mike Evans in the draft pick. Thank you. You're welcome.
And still won't address the offensive line
in the draft.
And you'll pick the wrong person again.
Listen, and Rodgers will just forego another contract and just be like, hey, this year's money, we're going to put it on to next year and try to do something there. So make it happen. Don't bring Becton back. The real Baker Mayfield showed up towards the end. Me and Mike, I don't think we got into an argument. It was more so we got into a discussion where he thought that linebacker made like a great play. And I'm like, that linebacker kind of was running stride for stride with Otten, and Baker threw it too low. If that ball would have been a little bit higher, it would have gone over that linebacker right to Otten.
Well, that was a bad throw.
It was a forced throw. Linebacker made a good play. I don't want to undersell the play that the linebacker made, but like that's a play you're supposed to make.
Well, he made a play, but it was a bad throw. It's a throw the linebacker had. He's got to take that.
Yeah, well, he just had to jump. You didn't have to be a supreme athlete to stop that throw. No. Did not have to be a supreme athlete to pick that off, because that's right there. If that ball was a little bit higher, he doesn't get it, and that was just a forced throw. Kind of what seems to be like a theme for a few of these games that we had. But other than that, Baker had like a pretty good game. Like both interceptions were not great, but like it's exactly the type of game you'd expect him to have against this Lions defense. It's just they got turnovers when they needed to get him. And shout out to the Lions for over the last 3 years accumulating all this talent and it working. And again, and Roz and I were talking about this, accumulating the talent, and then just you hit on Goff.
Hit on every.
They hit on Goff.
Not only did they hit on Goff, that offensive line.
They hit every offensive line they got. They hit every skill position they drafted.
Goff. There were some plays where fucking Goff would just stood there and wait. If you give any quarterback that time, they're gonna freaking.
They hit on all 5 of these guys. You hit on Gibbs. You hit on the Montgomery signing. You hit on St. Brown. You hit on Jameson Williams. You hit on Sam Laporta. Like, it just hit. And then it's like, oh, and we kind of made sure that like Jared Goff was good enough to engineer, like to run this team. They made sure Goff was good enough, because everybody remembers Goff was on his way to being a career backup going forward.
Yeah, McVay was done with him.
Once McVay was like, hey, I can't make this fucking guy work after going to the fucking Super Bowl with him, it was like, oh, this guy's done, because after that Super Bowl run, he was terrible.
Well, that Super Bowl run wasn't because of him, because of the running
It was
back.
because the running backs and their defense.
Yeah.
They had great defense in that Patriots Super Bowl. That Patriots Super Bowl only had one touchdown scored in it.
Yeah, he was on a team that went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, he was the bus rider. He wasn't the driver. The driver was Todd Gurley.
The team to the Super Bowl. Like, no, he
No.
was on the team that went to the Super Bowl.
Todd Gurley was the bus driver on that.
C.J. Anderson and Todd Gurley, because Todd
those
was hobbled in there, but they were both went nuts in that Dallas game.
Then you trade him to Detroit. You get Matt Stafford. Both seems now to be a win-win trade.
Well, what they did, it was a win. What they did was first thing when they as the new regime took over, first thing they did was like, we're gonna start with change. What did they do? Draft Penny
Sewell and all those guys.
Offensive line, because it's one in the trenches. Let's attack the trenches.
Mm-hmm.
Do wish that one draft they were able to get another defensive lineman.
Their defense still stinks. I don't care what anybody says. This defense is not very good.
Because they were like, oh, look at Aiden Hutchinson. He did a spin move. He did a spin move. I'm like, well, he got blocked to that spin move, and then Baker just ran right into
him.
I'm like, he got blocked in the spin move. And like, the lineman did his job. Just Baker was terrible.
There was also the sack he got where like Baker tripped and he just ran over him and touched him on the fucking ground when he was already down.
Should have been the first pick of that draft.
He should have been, but the Jaguars want to be dumb, right?
Trent Baalke. That's Trent Baalke. They want to keep Trent Baalke. Remember that happened in the last franchise that chose Trent Baalke over a coach. And they got rid of Trent Baalke, and that franchise fell to shit.
Listen, Trayvon Walker going number 1 in that draft is still a crime. Aiden Hutchinson is good. He's very good. There's no other real talent. And CJ is awesome, too. CJ Gardner-Johnson's fucking awesome, too. But there's really not that much talent on that defense at all. So if they're able to figure out that, address the secondary better, because those corners, I know they addressed corners this past offseason. Those corners still stink. They're still poop. They get some real linebackers in there, get a nice...
CJ Gardner-Johnson, though, he just came back off injury last week.
If this team were to go and get Chase Young...
I don't know. Has Chase Young really done anything?
That's a good pick to have. Chase Young is good. Right now, he's good having another person opposite of him. Washington is a shit show for everybody because Montez Sweat in Washington was dog shit. He goes over to Chicago and he starts balling out.
Montez Sweat was led both the Bears and the freaking communists in sacks this year.
Yeah, but with the communists, he had like 4 sacks on the season. So it's not like he was getting a ton of production. Everybody who left that team is producing significantly better. And Chase Young is a great talent. The problem is Aaron Glenn. Aaron Glenn as a defensive coordinator is not very good. You get another guy on that edge who could help rush, then that makes things a lot easier for Aiden Hutchinson. If you could try to find a good interior guy, makes life a lot easier too. And then see what's available for linebackers, because Devin White's a free agent. Get some dogs in there.
He's as good as a free agent because they're not going
to pay him.
Going to waste the franchise tag.
You waste a franchise tag on him. Just say you hate Mike Evans.
That Tampa free agency. Let me pick up. There was a bunch of names on that. Let me pick it up right where Adam Schefter posted the freaking brings you the Bucks. Antoine Winfield Jr., free agent.
Oh, man.
Mike Evans, Baker Mayfield, Levante David, Devin White, Chase Edmonds. They have a murderer's row of free agents.
That Antoine Winfield Jr. free agent.
Antoine Winfield,
you can't let him go. You can't let him go.
It's like half their defense. The best part of
their linebacker core gone.
Their linebackers and Antoine Winfield. Plus Mike Evans.
That's unreal.
Hey, he's there.
And you got it. Now you're going to pay a quarterback. And now you're going to pay a fucking quarterback. Franchise tag on wide receivers, $21 million.
And what year is Wirfs in?
Tristan Wirfs is year 4. So he's going to be year 5 next year.
Yeah, fifth-year option.
Fifth-year option, then they'll have him one more.
If he doesn't decide to hold out.
If he doesn't decide to hold out. So this Bucs team, I might have been wrong on the year which they blow it up, but the blow up's coming. So I'm very
no one knew who was winning that NFC South.
Nobody knew. Nobody knew who was winning the NFC South.
None of us picked the winner of the NFC South.
I had the Bucs winning 2 games this year.
Drafting in the top 5. No one had the Bucs coming sniffing the playoffs.
At all. I didn't have them doing none of this shit. I literally had them winning 2 games. 2 games this year I had them winning. And they won the division and won a playoff game. So, boy, was I fucking wrong. Shout out to the Lions. Fan base deserves it.
Yeah, you talk about a tortured fan base. Oh my God, I hope nothing tortured. The NFC Championship game, if something happens, oh my God. If they lose a heartbreaker, I don't know if they'll be able to take that.
That's what I was saying to Roz in the chat. I'm like, everything right now is uncharted territory for the Lions and their fan base. It's 33 years. 33 years since they got to this point. Nobody knows how to deal with this in that franchise.
Yeah, they've also been terrible for a long time.
Forever.
They've had a bunch of Hall of Famers on their team being terrible. And if they lose a heartbreaker, oh my God.
I listen. As a fan of a tortured franchise, I know what it's like to lose those heartbreakers in the championship game. I've seen 3 in my life, 2 that I cognitively remember. It is nothing worse than not knowing what's going to happen. Granted, 09-10, I got to come back the next year to the same thing. But with the Lions, the problem is the rest of that division is in a weird spot where the Packers are also really fucking good.
Packers are on the
ascension way faster than anybody thought they were going to be. The Bears are either going to be incredible or awful. And then, fuck the Vikings. Just fuck the Vikings. They're not very good. They're in flux too.
Yeah, and their quarterback's free agent, and they are in trouble.
Justin Jefferson doesn't know if he wants to be on the fucking team.
Yeah, especially if you don't know what quarterback he's going to have next year.
So they're in a weird fucking spot. But the Lions can have this success right now and then just be 3rd place in the division next year. That's how this stuff can work. And it sucks because I like Dan Campbell a lot. I like this Lions team. It's just how the straws are drawn. Especially if the Packers can figure it out on defense consistently. If the Packers can figure it out on defense consistently, they're a fucking problem.
Yeah, just got to get rid of their Joe Barry and get another guy in there. That's what the fuck they're doing.
And as long as Jordan Love doesn't throw cross-body interceptions like he did yesterday, Packers 21, Niners 24, in a game where Brock Purdy didn't play the best going into the second half, but had himself a solid game. Shout out to Christian McCaffrey.
Well, the difference in this game is San Francisco caught their interceptions. Green Bay didn't.
They did not. Correct.
Green Bay had 3 picks they should have caught, and 2 of them would have been pick sixes.
Mm-hmm.
The just would have been interception because Brock Purdy wasn't really playing good that game.
No. Going into halftime, he was having a very bad game.
He was having a very bad. He
was missing throws high.
What that one play where I think he threw a duck to McLeod. He was able to wipe his hands, get the ball, still throw a terrible duck to freaking nowhere near McLeod.
Purdy hates the rain, and Purdy hates not having Deebo Samuel or Christian McCaffrey. The only difference I saw this tweet, and I was like, it's never been more accurate. The only difference between Jimmy Garoppolo and Brock Purdy is Christian McCaffrey.
Yes.
That's the only difference between the two. I got into an argument at the barbershop with a 49er fan last week, and I told her, I was like, he's just a better Jimmy Garoppolo. He said, you told her the same. I said, no, he's a better Jimmy Garoppolo because I think he's better than Jimmy. The difference is he just has McCaffrey. Like, his numbers are identical. Like, I don't understand what we're doing here. They are the same quarterback.
He made the same type of throws Jimmy G would have made yesterday. He made the same Jimmy G. Those 3 balls that should have been intercepted, Jimmy G does that all the time.
I kept screaming at the TV yesterday when the Packers were on defense because the defensive ends kept trying to go for the fucking sack. Kept trying to go for the sack as opposed to just dropping back and just trying to bat down the pass.
Yeah.
The Ravens set the blueprint on how to beat this team. And I feel like nobody wanted to use it. Nobody wanted to use it towards the end of the season and now here with this game. If you tell your defensive ends to stop mid-rush and just play for the pass behind the line of scrimmage, you're going to have a problem. Because the majority of your offense goes through your running backs, and the majority of their offense goes through plays behind the line of scrimmage.
And Deebo was off the field, so yeah.
Deebo won, so you just had to stop McCaffrey.
But the problem is, like I said, the Green Bay Packers, middle of the field of the Green Bay Packers defense is where you attack. What happened?
And that's what they were doing with Kittle.
And that throw to fucking Ayuk late in the game to give him the lead.
Yep.
Before McCaffrey scored a touchdown, middle of the field.
It's very annoying watching this Niners team when I'm sitting there calling out what they're doing, and then these guys are paid professionals who just ignore what's on the TV.
You know what's coming.
What's on the tape.
Just go stop it. It's how many times are you going to throw that screen pass or that little swing pass? It's not.
I just don't understand it.
Deebo wasn't there. They literally tried to do it with Jennings.
And they were doing it with Jennings. That's the problem. They were doing a pretty good job with Jennings. And I'm just sitting here, I'm like, why aren't they just playing for it? If he's going to beat you deep, he's going to beat you deep. Don't let him fucking murder your defensive line. Don't let them put those guys in trouble because they're getting destroyed on the blocks. Like, they're already getting killed in the run game. McCaffrey was chewing them up because the offensive line was just mauling.
Well, and then the Jordan Love interception that at the end of the game, okay, that was terrible. But the kicker.
Yes, runs in the family.
Runs in the family. I don't know if you remember this. Or you might be too young for this. His brother, Daniel Carlson, played for the Minnesota Vikings. I believe they were playing Seattle. So the legendary game happened before. Let me set this. Let me paint a picture. They were playing in the Metrodome. Their new stadium was being built.
The Metrodome.
There was a blizzard, a real bad blizzard, and the roof of the Metrodome the Metrodome. Yep. Metrodome caves in with snow, so it's broken. So they couldn't play in the Metrodome. They had to play at University of Minnesota. This was like Christian Ponder, Adrian Peterson.
Yes, I remember this. I
forgot. It was a cold ass game. I
remember this.
And Daniel Carlson, easy field goal, missing wide left. And then what do we know? Got to be 11 years later. His brother goes, and I text you, runs in the fucking family. Runs in the fucking family.
Every time he goes out there, I just pray. The problem is they drafted Anders Carlton with a pick the Jets traded them for a kicker who was missing kicks in college.
So, yes, again, Matt LaFleur got interviewed at halftime. So Rinaldi they were talking in the third quarter. He goes, every time And Ronaldo said, yeah, he talked to the coach. Every time he sends that kicker out there, he turns and he just prays. This is the third quarter. And he said this at halftime.
You
And
hate to
that's
see it, but you also love to see shit like that. Because the whole time this game's going on, Roz is like, the Packers can't win this game because then the Jets lose the trade. And I'm just like, this has nothing to do with anything. That has literally nothing to do with anything. Because we didn't account for Jordan Love being awesome. Nobody accounted for Jordan Love being awesome. Right? So all it did was it was very cathartic for them to lose because the kicker missed it, but then it was also like, hey, Roz, the Jets didn't lose trade because the Jet draft pick cost them the game. So
also
you
LaFleur left some points on the fucking field when he went for it, like in the first quarter, whatever it was, the first quarter going for it, and it was an easy, like on the 20-yard, whatever, however close they were on the San Francisco end of the field on that fourth inches with the quarterback sneak. I'm like, just kick the fucking field goal, because guess what? It was a difference in the game because now your kicker has to kick a unpressured field goal versus a pressured field goal is a lot different.
That interception by Jordan Love is not a good throw in good weather. It's an even worse throw in bad weather. You can't do that. That is like the big quarterback no. You can't do that shit.
Somebody stitched that with Brett Favre in Minnesota, and they looked the
same exact play. Same exact play.
Motion.
So every time I heard this season, oh, Jordan Love just looks so much like Brett Favre. Jordan Love just looks like so much like Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, because he's doing the same shit. But hey, you got to go out there. You can't leave anything on the field.
But the thing was, that was first down. If he throws, they still had timeouts.
They still had a chance to do it, but I get what he was going for. In all actuality, was it the smartest decision? No, it was not. Will he learn from that? Yes, because I think Jordan Love might be like the first quarterback I remember watching in a season, watching them get like significantly better.
All the signs were there. How many times I pointed it out every week we got on?
Yeah, me and you and I would point it out over the last few years whenever Rodgers was hurt and Jordan Love had to play. We're like, it's there. The play calling's not. But again, it's a difference between Aaron Rodgers running your offense and LaFleur running your offense. Because I think in the past, I've said that this LaFleur offense looks like dog shit, but it's just like, hey, this is what Rodgers wants to run. And you can't tell Rodgers no. So it's like, here are 2 plays, pick from your 2 plays. All right, bet. And then I'm going to change it up everything when I get out there anyway. Versus the quarterback's like, okay, cool, tell me what we're running.
Well, the problem, you remember, they had to deal with the injuries and then the wide receiver drops.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they showed when they had a different wide receiver leading the team in receiving each month. There's somebody like, oh, who can he really trust? So the drops were happening. They're missing Elton Jenkins and the offensive line the whole freaking season. And they come back. What happens? Everybody gets back healthy, and they get on a roll, and your QB gets hot.
Packers will be back. They'll be back for a while
because they're on the ascend. They are on the ascend. It depends what they do because they got the Aaron Jones contract. I know AJ Dillon's a free agent. I would not bring him back.
AJ Dillon's not coming back. AJ Dillon's gonna be a Jet next year because fuck me. Every fucking ex-Packer is gonna be a Jet.
And Aaron Jones getting up there in age too.
Ravens 34, Texans 10. In case anybody forgot that Lamar Jackson's really good at fucking football because he didn't play last week or the week before, this should have been a reminder that Lamar Jackson's really fucking good at football and is going to be the league MVP. And I think the first league MVP to not throw for 30 touchdowns. So shout out to him. Shout out to CJ Stroud. Not because he played a good game or anything, because he really didn't, but for the season he had.
Well, the classic case, history always, dome team, cold weather, It writes itself. Dome team, warm weather team in cold weather. That's why
Death.
matters to some teams. You want to get it. Baltimore, you got the cold. Houston, you get home field. You're in a dome. Works better for you.
And Baltimore's probably getting Mark Andrews back next week. Not like they need him.
No, it's Isaiah.
Isaiah Likely's awesome.
He's elevated Isaiah Likely.
Like the world difference of play from what Lamar Jackson's doing as opposed to what like Brock Purdy does is insane.
Plus, Tyler Lindenbaum and the offensive line just fucking bullies.
So, like, again, another instance where the offensive line is awesome, but the offensive line in Baltimore has been awesome for what seems like 25 years. So, like, it's just things It's just Baltimore's going to run the football well, and they're going to play fucking defense. That's what they're going to do. That's what they've done my entire life. And then they go out there, and then they have this absolute just anomaly at quarterback in Lamar Jackson, where he's elevated his game so much as a pocket passer, where he's almost impossible to figure out what he's going to do. Because, again, he had 152 yards and 2 passing touchdowns and averaged like 9 yards a carry and had 2 rushing touchdowns on 100 yards. And he's doing it with old man Odell Beckham, rookie Zay Flowers, second-year Isaiah Likely, and ragtag group of running backs and misfits.
Plus defense.
And their defense is fucking awesome.
Fucking Queen and Smith, Matabuke, fucking Kyle Hamilton, even fucking Clowney.
They got Jadeveon Clowney to be productive. We've only been waiting for Jadeveon Clowney to be productive for a decade.
You know, how many times I text you? I'm like, oh mate, Clowney come back player of the year. Like Clowney was fucking balling.
Like, not like he came back from anything like bad. He just hasn't showed up for his entire career. He's probably the most overhyped first round pick ever. Just to not play to that level. Granted, he's not like he's a quarterback bust where they're out of the league in like 3 years, but he's just so underwhelming of a number 1 pick who still has a career that like everything right now is just a shock.
Like you can plug him in.
Lamar unlocked the matrix. He runs slower yet somehow more effective because he's picking and choosing the spots and when he's running, as opposed to I don't see
the run.
I'm out.
Like Greg Roman used to fucking run him.
He's sitting there and he's trying to make sure he has exhausted all options behind the line of scrimmage before he takes off. Where instead of just like taking off when that pocket breaks down, he will run to the left and make sure he stays behind the pocket just in case somebody breaks free deep. It's the level that he ascended as a pocket passer and as a passer as a whole, which makes everybody who's ever said anything about Lamar Jackson look silly.
Plus, this is the best receiving core he's ever had.
Which is insane to think that old man Odell Beckham, who doesn't have any ACLs, rookie Zay Flowers, and Nelson Aguilar.
Aguilar is a fucking thing. Bateman's on and off the field.
And
with Mark
second-year Isaiah Likely, no Mark Andrews. It's night and day what anybody does. And
if they get Andrews back, guess what? They've unlocked something. If Andrews is ready to go next week, now they can do a 2 tight end lineup. And you think we're going to run? We're going to pass.
When they fired Wink Martindale, you and I were sitting in our group chat. We were like, they fired the wrong coordinator.
Yeah. I'm like,
because Lamar Jackson, for what seems like 3 years at that point, was like, listen, they know what we're calling. They know what we're doing. I want to throw. I'm a quarterback. We need to do something different. And they kept doing the same thing over and over and over and over.
They fired Wink Martindale. Like, what the fuck? Why did they fire Wink?
Why did they fire Wink? Their whole defense was out with torn Achilles.
Everybody in their secondary. They were grabbing people off the street to play corner because they all freaking were tearing ACLs. Yeah, okay, Wink. Yeah, he likes the blitz. Well, he almost has to because you got fucking guys off the street covering people. You got to give him help. You really want him to cover?
Like there's no option. So firing Wink never made sense to me. We're all sitting here like fire Greg Roman.
I'm like, so they're not going to fire Greg Roman too? I'm like, they're not
Like you're
going
gonna piss Lamar Jackson off by keeping this guy.
I'm like, I would rather have kept Wink Martindale over Greg Roman. I'm like, that's what happened.
Granted, it doesn't matter who the defensive coordinator of the Ravens is because they just run the same defense every year.
Well, no, this is different. Wink was blitzing. Wink blitzed.
Wink was a blitz. Yes, I know.
Yes,
I know. Wink is 95% blitz. If you think Todd Bowles blitzes a lot, look at Wink Martindale. Shout out to this Ravens team, man. They're super fun to watch. Lamar is an anomaly. He's what happens if Mike Vick became an elite quarterback. If Mike Vick became an elite pocket passer, this is what he is.
If Mike Vick was in this era, Mike Vick was just in the wrong era. Because, like, Mike Vick, most of his runs weren't design runs.
No, he just left.
It was like a quarterback draw. That was it. Like, when they run QB sweeps and all that shit with Lamar, they design runs for him. Mike Vick, and he also had no fucking receivers, too, when he was in Atlanta. And
once he got to Philly.
He went to prison.
Vic still has the best deep ball I've ever seen. Nobody throws a better looking deep ball than Michael Vick. And nobody. That deep, tight spiral, and then the way it would just drop.
And then he ended up on Philly, and then they fired Andy Reid, and then Chip Kelly came and ruined every fucking thing.
I wish I had more to say about the Texans other than great season. Shout out to CJ Stroud.
Now they're good. Now the problem is because they weren't supposed to be here.
They're 3 years ahead of schedule.
So now they have expectations.
Yes. That was my next question to you. Is what going forward, now that we've seen that this Texan team can win 11 games, do we expect them to be like a perennial division winner now? Or is this kind of like hey, they just overachieved, we expect them to hover around like 8 to 9?
Well, they're still playing the AFC South. If Doug Peterson can get rid of Press Taylor, this is what happened in Philly. He did not fucking, and then what happened is like you have to get rid of Press Taylor's got to go. He's ruining your quarterback again.
Shout out to DeMeco Ryans.
Because
having a great year.
It also depends on their schedule. I don't know what teams they're facing next year because the teams everyone's facing is out. There's just no dates. Like
they play
the NFC South and the AFC North next year.
They played the NFC South.
No, I'm talking about next season.
No, well then they're gonna play the NFC East because they played the South this year. Yeah, they played the South and they played
South. Of course, they're going to play
the NFC South.
No, I'm talking about the Texans.
They played the NFC South this year.
Yeah, I'm saying I don't know who they're playing next year because the teams who they're playing are already announced for next year. There's just no dates. Like that's what I said. For example, the Cowboys they're playing the AFC North and the NFC South next year.
They are playing the NFC North.
Interesting.
Yeah, Packers, Bears, Lions, Vikings, and they play. Oh, and the Cowboys.
Yeah, that's the extra game.
Yeah, because you guys finished in the same spot. The wide right game resurrected. That's all I was screaming. Once that ball went right, I was screaming because I loved it. Loved it. History repeating itself in different ways. Fuck the Bills.
What are the AFC division names? So they played who they play this year?
Who did they play this year?
Oh, they played the AFC North, so they're
Yeah,
going to play. Yeah, because
they have us. They have the
Trevor Lawrence
Patriots and the
died. Because
Bills.
Trevor Lawrence died going up against the AFC North back to back to back weeks.
They're playing us, the AFC East.
They play AFC East, so that's going to be a tougher schedule for them.
Yep. Well, they played us this year. That was CJ Stroud's worst fucking game.
But they're also playing the rest of your division. They got to play Miami. They got to play Buffalo.
And New England.
They got to play
Whatever New England is.
Yeah, well, I don't count them. The teammates are getting tired of fucking Matt Corkle Jones for being a prima donna. How he was when they introduced Mayo.
Oh no, how was he? I didn't know this.
He's acting like a prima donna. Fuck, I should have fucking. Oh, so they're getting tired. The team's like tired of him. I wonder if
All right. Let's do this while we have a little bit of time here. I'm going to pull this up. And I would like to do this from our previous podcast that we were on, Steven, where I'm going to pull this up. Welcome, Tankathon. How are we? And I would like to look at some mock drafts with you. A tale as old as time.
This is my favorite time of year. We're here. We should. Is this update?
This is up to date. This is the draft order right now.
What's the current Buffalo? Yep.
Yes. This is it. So this is what we're going to look at. I'm going to pull up a mock draft. And I want to see what your guess would be, position-wise or player, if you'd like to. And I hope our favorite mock draft, yes, our favorite website for mock drafts.
CBS.
For those who don't know, I love mock drafts. We do whenever we talk about mock drafts on the show. I love them, but there's always one outlet that I ignore because they every year do something so stupid with their mock drafts where it's just unbelievable. So right now we're on to CBS. CBS's sports website, filled with idiots who do this shit for a salary. We're going to review what they do. And for those who know, I could tell a mock draft is bad when the mock draft completely ignores area of need or if a mock draft predicts trades. If a mock draft predicts trades, these motherfuckers don't know anything what they're talking about. So we're on CBS's website, Steven. The first overall pick on the draft board here is Carolina. Who do you think Mr. Ryan Wilson has Carolina taking?
The Bears. So,
or Carolina, the Chicago Bears. Who do you think he has Chicago Bears taking?
Since it's CBS, we'll say trade.
You'd be correct. Mr. Ryan Wilson has the Washington Commanders trading up from 2-1 to draft Caleb Williams.
From 2-1.
From 2-1.
The only way. Okay, now I'm gonna. Here's what you do. If this is Washington, you say, I know you don't want to draft a quarterback, but can you draft him? And we have the next pick right after you. We'll draft Marv and then we'll trade, blah, 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 draft day trade, and then boom, boom. You don't want to take him a wide receiver number 1. We want a quarterback. Taking a quarterback.
So, now that we've established there's been a trade between the number 1 and number 2, the Chicago Bears on the clock at number 2. Who do you have them picking?
Well, wide receiver Marvin Harrison.
You would be correct. The New England Patriots are now on the clock at 3. Who do you have them taking?
Spencer Rattler.
Unfortunately, that I think is out of the likelihood of possibilities now that Bill is not running the team. So, if Bill was still running the team, I would absolutely predict trade out or Spencer Rattler.
It's the GM. We don't know.
Or actually, it might be JJ McCarthy. So if JJ McCarthy is anywhere in the first round, this is the shit list because he stinks. Ryan Wilson has the Patriots taking Drake May. Number 4, Arizona Cardinals. Who do you have the Cardinals taking? What position do you have the Cardinals taking?
Oh, Marv's off the board, so I would say receiver.
They have them taking offensive line, which also isn't a bad pick. So go right ahead. The LA Chargers are on the clock. Who do you have them taking?
What's his name? Georgia tight end.
No, Joe Alt.
Oh, Joe Alt. They have a left tackle. They have a tackle.
This is why this is my favorite, because again, we're ignoring position of need for the sake of drafting a guy. The Giants are on the clock. Who do you have the Giants taking?
Okay, so who's the top running back in the fucking draft?
The top running back. They don't even have a. Wouldn't it be homeboy from fucking?
Football's not on. Then I just totally forget.
I have to see because then nobody has a running back going in the first round. Isn't it homeboy from Texas?
No, it was
or Michigan.
Back out of freaking.
So you have them going running back in the first round.
Yeah.
This guy has them going Jaden Daniels.
Oh wow.
The Titans. Let's only do the top 10. I don't want to go into this.
Yeah.
But Titans are on the clock. What position do you have the Titans going?
I would say, damn. Corner.
Offensive line. Falcons are on the clock.
Quarterback.
Which one?
So Drake May's gone. Caleb Williams gone.
Jaden Daniels is gone.
Is either Bo Nix or Penix.
Michael Penix. Bears. What are they taking?
Bears. I would say O-line.
They take edge rusher Dallas Turner from Alabama, and then the Jets at 10.
That's okay. That's not that bad. The Jets. Let's say wide receiver.
Malik Neighbors, LSU. So that's Ryan Wilson. There's plenty of other dumb shit he's doing there. Let's do one more for Chris Trapasso. So far, so good. He still has the Bears with their pick, but has them taking Caleb Williams. The Commanders, Drake May. The Patriots, I've been seeing this a lot. The Patriots taking Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, that's the Patriots
pick.
The Patriots fans want Jaden Daniels.
Jaden Daniels is a good pick. Cardinals going Marvin Harrison. The Chargers going Malik Neighbors because there is a lot of speculation going on that Keenan Allen and Mike Williams could be on their way out. Along with Joseph Bosa.
Can't be healthy. Well, it depends who's taking that job. Especially if it's Belichick, which I think he's going to Atlanta. But if it's Belichick, he's getting rid of Bosa, he's getting rid of Mack, he's getting rid of
everybody who's making money. They're gone.
They're gone except for Herbert. Herbert's the only one
that's safe.
Going nowhere.
So Malik Neighbors, that's a great pick if that's the direction they're going with. He has the Bears trading with the Giants. So this is where the mock draft gets stupid. And the only way I see that happening
from 9 to 6,
yes, is if they traded Justin Fields. That's the only way I see that happening. And with that pick, they take Leatu Latu from UCLA, the edge rusher. Lions going offensive line. Falcons going defensive line,
We're
and then
li-
the Giants, not the Lions, Titans.
Oh,
Titans, Falcons, and then the Giants at 9 take Georgia tight end Brock Bowers. And then they have the Jets taking Joe Alt, which would be lovely. I saw a mock draft the other day that had the Jets taking fucking Brock Bowers, and I wanted to fucking shoot myself.
if Brock Bowers goes, if LA's there, Brock Bowers, I would think the Chargers would take Brock. A tight end is a need.
It depends on what their direction is.
Yeah, a lot of these mock drafts, we gotta see who the coach. We need the staff filled out first. We need the GM. We need because Chargers also fired their GM, so we need the GM and the coach. So that's that's a potential Belichick spot, potential Harbaugh spot, who also both of them want to be in control.
Yeah, that's the problem here. I don't know, and I feel like the Chargers are going to let him do that, but I also still feel like he's going back. My perception has turned into less and less he's gone back. Like I was very 80% sure he was going back after the Natty. Now I'm 65% sure he's going back.
What who Harbaugh?
Yeah.
He's coming back to the NFL.
But
he's already talking about passing the torch.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, yeah, he's come back. The weird thing to look out here for is on this mock draft, Josh Edwards, he has J.J. McCarthy going in the first round.
Fire him.
Fire him. Fire that man.
Because I think Belichick to Atlanta is probably
a done deal.
He's throwing Arthur Blank's private plane for a second meeting. That's pretty much
done deal. Done deal. The problem is I don't know who's running that offense.
Yeah,
I have zero idea who's running that offense. So,
but it would be the best weapons Bill has had in a long time.
Like that, you have 3 of the greatest young talents at each of their skill positions.
They just need a quarterback. If they're willing to see what Chicago's all about. If Chicago they hired Cliff Kingsbury, doesn't mean nothing.
If they hire Cliff Kingsbury, they're going to change direction at quarterback. They're absolutely going to change direction at quarterback.
And you have to call Chicago up and offer your first round pick for Fields because then
you have to explore that because that offense, again, it all depends on who's running that Belichick offense because that defense is going to be set.
Arthur Smith was terrible at play calling and personnel on the field, and they had no fucking quarterback. They were a quarterback away. If they had a decent quarterback, they would have been playing Detroit.
We know one thing Bill is going to do is Bill is going to run that defense, and they have guys on that defense.
Not in the defense. The defense wasn't the problem. It's their offense.
It's their offense. So he's going to elevate that defense into being incredible. The problem is
Ritter was
I don't know who's running the offense. If Bill can't get me a modern offense, I don't trust it. Especially if you get Justin Fields. If you get Justin Fields and you're just not going to get a good offensive mind that's going to be progressive enough to use everybody in every which way possible, then just quit. Then just don't take the job.
Bring Josh McDaniels.
Keep him far away. Keep any Patriot disciple away. It doesn't work. That's it. Bill O'Brien's already back to school. Don't bring McDaniels back. Don't bring Matt Patricia.
Yeah, I know. Philly's
letting him walk. Wink Martindale's going to be their defensive coordinator next year. I'm calling that. As a big fuck you to Brian Daboll, he's going to accept that job. Calling it. But Bill, I trust nothing of Bill unless he gets me a modern play caller. And if he hires Greg Roman, fire him. Fire him. I don't hear none of that. If Bill Belichick hires Greg Roman as offensive coordinator, if he gets Justin Fields, fire him. Don't burn the franchise down. Don't do it. You're going to have Lamar Jackson all over again being pissed.
My problem with the Bears right now is okay, if you could draft Caleb Williams. He is the best quarterback in this draft class. That doesn't mean he's going to work out. Is he better right now than Justin Fields. That's what you have to ask yourself, because then he's got to get through the learning curve of the NFL. Justin
But you
Fields,
also get 4 years of resetting that quarterback clock.
yeah, and if he turns out to be a bust, it's a risk you have to take, and then there's people going to lose their jobs.
Listen, I think Eberflus got 1 more year in anyway before he gets fired, so it doesn't really make a difference. If they hire Cliff Kingsbury and he does a good job, Cliff Kingsbury will probably be the next head coach of that team. But I'm not sure what the end game here is, right? Because the defense is good, it's performing. You're resetting your quarterback clock. You need offensive line. You free up money going forward. But again, this is a cursed franchise, right? The whole theme of this episode right now is just we're talking about cursed franchises. This is a cursed franchise when it comes to quarterbacks. They don't have good quarterbacks playing in this franchise. I think the best quarterback to play for this franchise is fucking Jay Cutler.
Well, you have
Jim McMahon,
be a Sid Luckman,
Rex Grossman. Good franchises, good quarterbacks don't play for this franchise.
Justin Fields is pretty much their best quarterback they ever had.
Denver is under the chat. Denver, you guys had Peyton Manning at least. You guys got to the Super Bowl and won a Super Bowl with Peyton Manning.
Denver has had fucking John Elway and fucking Peyton Manning. I'm pretty sure they're good on fucking having great quarterbacks in their franchise history.
Yeah, they're pretty good. The Bears have had nobody.
The Bears have never had a 4,000-yard passer in the history
ever.
of Chicago.
Ever. They've had more. I think they've had more 300-yard passers against them than for them. At least the Jets have had Joe Namath.
I think they've had more 4,000-yard passers thrown against them than with.
Yes. The Jets had Joe Namath, Vinny Testaverde. At least we have that.
Rodgers and Favre are thrown for 4,000 yards on them. Talking about a good maybe 20 years of quarterbacks throwing.
And now they're about to have another one.
He's already off to a good start throwing on them.
He owns them already, so
third Packers fucking quarterback throw for 4,000 yards on them.
Hang him in the Bears Ring of Honor. Yeah. Right next to Rodgers, next to Favre. Well, everybody, thank you for stopping by. Appreciate you. We'll be back next week to talk about these NFC and AFC championship games, predict the Super Bowl a little bit, and we'll have time. We'll go through some more mock drafts because there will be a new mock draft next week. From our favorites at CBS. Fucking losers. I'm Podcast Poppy. I'm Dylan Barreto. I'm with Big Brother Steven Barreto, the Sand Viper. We are out of here.